officially kettlebell complex morning. Complex until I see otherwise fit. We're going to practice some exercises we've done in the past few weeks, so if you're just jumping in and this is the first kettlebell complex class you've done, like I keep saying, stop, go back to the first one. I think there's only 3 previous now, and build yourself up, because each of these classes is either going to be revision, whereby you're getting an exercise and you've never been taught it before and you're wondering how to do it and you feel unsafe, then the chances are you've came too far ahead. Go back and pick up an earlier class. Anyway, on that note, if you are following along this morning, if you've only got one kettlebell, okay, that might be too light for some movements or too heavy for others. On that note, be safe, be sensible. If you're trying to learn a new exercise, because we're putting our body, we're going to be practicing our windmills again today. So you're going to be putting your body in a very dangerous position if you're doing it incorrectly. And then if you're doing it incorrectly, you're going to end up hurting yourself if you're adding weight to that. Okay, so our kettlebell windmills is like this. Okay, let's say you've got something real heavy, you're trying to learn the movement pattern, and you end up looking like this. Okay, what do you think is going to happen there? Yep, your spine's going to fall out your butt. Okay, so we need to be sensible, we need to be careful, look after yourself. I don't want people hurting themselves at home, okay? If you hurt yourself, chances are you kind of felt it coming on, okay? From experience, most people end up going, I knew that was going to happen, I knew I was going to pull my back out there, okay? So if things don't feel right, get rid of the kettlebell. A lot of these movements can be practiced with a can of beans or a bottle of water, okay? I recommend you try and at least hold something, okay? So I've got my bottle of water, but at least I did. There it is. So especially on the earlier sets or the warm-up exercises, hold something, because if you're just using your hand, you need to get in the habit of having something on your hand, gripping it tight and trying to focus on keeping it in the same place. If you're not holding something, you'll find your hand just goes everywhere. Anyway, that's the only admin safety points I've got. Make sure it feels right. If it doesn't feel right, either go to a lighter weight or ditch the weight and find some substitute, such as a water bottle filled with sand, okay, or just a water bottle in general. That's a quick 2 kilos, easy there, okay? Happy with that, everybody? Simple. Right, we're going to start off with some key mobility movements before we start this morning, because we are, like I say, going to be doing a lot of twists and hip hinges, etc. So if there's any tightness present, it's up to you now to get rid of it, okay? Let's get mobile. So let's get up on our feet and let's look like we want to be here. I'm talking to the people on live, of course, who look like they've just crawled out their bed. Okay, here we are this morning. We're going to look. Right, full press up position, everybody. There's no point zipping that jacket up, Linda. You're going to be boiling in a minute. Let's go. We're going to bring the hips up and we're going to push back into our all familiar first mobility stretch we always do. I like doing this one. Why? Especially before kettlebells, because it's going to address the full posterior chain. All those muscle groups that you're going to be lengthening out or requiring to lengthen out and put under a massive amount of stress during your kettlebell swings and other movements. We're needing this area to be nice and supple, nice and mobile, okay? So if you're feeling tightness, this is the chance to try and address it. So don't just hold a half-arsed position. Get into a good position. If it feels like you need to stretch it out more, address that area that feels tight. Get a little side to side on the hips if your groin's feeling tight. Get a little side to side on the upper body if the lats are feeling tight. Push back, drive the heels down towards the ground, and then I'm going to slowly transition up, drop my hips down, and I'm pushing up, and I'm pushing up. Once again, I'm using the old backup microphone, so I am shouting. If you're wondering on live why I'm shouting, it's not because I'm excited. Well, I'm a little bit excited. I won't lie, I'm really excited because it's kettlebell morning and it's my favourite day of the week, Monday morning. Why? New opportunities at your feet, okay, ready to be taken. Yep, get it done. Get rid of that Monday morning mindset of, oh, it's Monday, isn't it? Oh, my hips are a wee bit tight and I never do anything about it, sort of attitude. Yeah, you shaking your head, I'm talking to you. Lift these hips up, let's go for it. We're pushing back, we're pushing back. So this is us now, we've got rid of that initial bit of tightness, okay? And we're really trying to fine tune this. So if you're really feeling those hips are tight, everybody gets stuck into it on a serious note, get stuck into it. Don't just go through the motions. A lot of people struggle with this mobility drill, okay? And you get better at it. The more you do it, hopefully if you really put your all into it, each time you do it, you feel you're just getting that little bit straighter on the upper body, that little bit straighter on the lower body, and just start to hold a better position in general. We're going to drop down one more. A lot of people write these movements off, etc., because they find them difficult or they feel they can't get into them, and that's the worst thing to do, okay? Keep practicing, you're going to get better. Every day you do it, push it a wee bit harder, you will get better. Good work. Fantastic. Right, I want you to lift the hips up, and I want you to walk the hands into your straight legs. So don't bend the legs. I want you to take it in slowly, keep the chin tucked in, and you're going to feel a good stretch in those hammies into the glutes, into the lower back. Keep that chin tucked. Hold it for a bit, okay? Again, if it's feeling tight, address any tightness, get stuck into it, but we're doing it more dynamically. We're not really static stretching too much this morning, apart from obviously what we've just done. Right, okay, we're going to throw another one in, okay, because we are getting a lot of people with tight lower backs, so we're going to throw in a lower back drill this morning. So I want you to lie flat on your back, as if you're about to do a sit-up, okay? So you've got your feet squeezed together, your knees squeezed together, and I want you to bring your feet as close, your heels as close to your butt as you can. Then I want you to lift the toes off the ground, so it's only the heels on the ground, and then you can put your arms out, lie next to you like so, and then all I want you to do is keeping the knees and the ankles squeezed together, begin the side to side twists. Now, you go to the point, you're trying to keep your knees together, everybody, okay? That's the first protocol. Go as far as you're able to, keep your knees squeezed together. The end goal is to be able to have your knee touching the ground with the other knee touching the knee, if that makes any sense. Of course it makes sense. Good. Okay, so we're going side to side. Now what you mustn't do is if you feel it's starting to separate, as in your knees start to open up because there's tightness, don't let them open up just so you can get one knee to the ground, because there's zero stretch going on there, okay? We want to keep them together. So you should be able to get both knees stuck together and touch the ground without any undue strain and stress on your lower back. You should. So if you can't, and it feels pretty locked up, damn tight in there, then you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Mobility overhaul. Get it done. Just get it done. Okay? Get your lower back. There's enough lower back specific classes out there, and of course we don't just address the lower back when the lower back stiff. Right, get yourself up there, everybody. I want you to do the usual hip routine of swings, side swings, and toe touches. I want you to pay attention to these. They're not exactly complicated, okay? But we're going to put all our effort into them. We're trying to keep the pelvis neutral, as in don't let the pelvis move. Get a nice high swing of the leg forward and a nice high swing back. Point the toes up towards your knee. That's going to help enhance the stretch up the back of your leg. And we try and take it just a little bit higher. And we keep swinging that leg until we feel we're getting a reasonable bit of height. And we're not feeling anything catching, okay? If you're going to feel anything catching, it's probably going to be either in the groin or the hamstrings on this one. When you feel ready, you change legs, okay? So it's down to you and how things are feeling. Swing the leg. So we have to put a bit of effort into it, okay? It's not just a kind of swinging a leg around with no effort. We have to try and get a wee bit higher, a wee bit further back. We have to be conscious about those hips. Imagine your hips are filled up with water to the brim and you're trying not to let any spill. Then we're going into our side swing. With your side swing, the leg that's on the ground, have the toes point away roughly 45 degrees, 10, 11 o'clock to your body, and that'll help take any strain off your knee. Okay, so if you've got your toes pointing straight forward and you're adding this side swing force into it, laterally that's going to be putting a lot of pressure on your kneecap, and your knee joint should I say, and that's going to feel not too pleasant. Drive the toes into the ground of the leg that's obviously on the ground, and you should feel how much more stable your foot is. Again, that's only going to enhance the quality of the stretch that you're giving it here. So dynamic stretching, stretching on the move, and with that movement, we're generating a little bit of heat, okay? Getting these muscles nice and mobile, nice and warmed up. So we're going for probably the most important movement pattern of today. We're going for our ground taps, which is at heart a hip hinge. So we're standing up tall, we're standing up proud, and I'll show you this one side on because you can see exactly what's happening. Chest up proud, shoulder blades pulled together. This position here now stays the same. It doesn't change and I don't let it compromise. So from my hips, I'm pushing my hips back while keeping my knees soft. That requires coordination. But if you're at this point in the time of the classes, you should have mastered this hip hinge by now, because you should not be doing anything other than practicing this hip hinge before you start throwing a kettlebell around. So I'm keeping myself nice and tall, nice and proud, my upper body's fixed in position, and I push my hips back. And if I do this correctly, like I say, the only thing moving is me pushing my hips back. So don't reach for the ground. Keep your arms hanging down by all means, but as you push your hips back, you should touch the ground by lengthening out the hamstrings, the glutes, and the lower back here, okay? Now it is a movement that requires a good bit of coordination. It's easy to look at someone doing it and it just looks like it's flowing pretty well. Okay, there's a lot to think about. But my biggest tip with this one is, don't think about it too much, okay? Practice it in your own time, side onto a mirror, try to push your hips back. A lot of beginners will find that their knees start to bend uncontrollably, and they're like, oh damn it, my knees are bent again. Right, straighten my knees, push my hips back, oh there we go. You have to just keep practicing yourself in your own time, and every time you feel something go the wrong way, you don't want it to go, pause, fix it, continue, pause, fix it, continue, and that's where you'll develop the motor skills to start controlling each individual part of your body. It's like lifting one eyebrow, okay? That takes a bit of thought and a bit of practice. Some people can't do it, but over time you'll be able to just control the muscles on one side. It's the same thing, okay? You need to practice and you need to teach your brain how to control that certain part of your body, okay? So think about it that way, break it down easy, but we should, like I say, all at this point in time, be more than comfortable with that. Right, don't yawn at me. Do not yawn at me and shake your arms, that's rude, and it will not be accepted here, okay? Just because you manage to join by yourself doesn't mean to say I can't boot you out, like joking on the spot. Let's go for it. Shake yourselves, people, what's going on? It's like Monday morning blues or something. Right, we're going, big breath in, big breath out. I'm shaking my arms out. I'm trying to relax my whole upper body here, okay? That's the whole purpose of this. Just trying to get rid of all that tightness, all that stress that might be present in my upper body, and just try to make everything feel nice and heavy. From here, pull my shoulder blades together, opens up the chest, nice proud chest, there we are. From here, I'm going to go into my chest swings, okay? So serving two purposes here, this movement. It's stretching out the chest and shoulders at the front of your body, okay? And at the back, when we pull back and squeeze those shoulder blades, you should feel the upper back muscles and the back of your shoulders contract, squeeze, okay? You should feel those muscles fire on. That's what I'm after. If you don't feel it, you probably get soft arms, okay? You're probably floating your arms about like a wet sock, okay? So we've got the chest up proud, pulling the shoulder blades. From here, same idea, but we're going vertical, up, 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 push through. Now you're trying to keep your shoulder blades pulled together and pull down, push the upper body through those straight arms, okay? Don't let yourself do it. Don't let yourself lean back, okay? Don't let yourself feel this starting to invert. If you do, squeeze the butt. Squeeze the butt, and you can squeeze your butt while you're jogging on the spot, believe it or not, okay? Not completely, but you can apply a little bit of tension to your glutes while you're moving. Of course, let's get these feet moving on that note, because once again I'm seeing a bit of this, okay? Yep, whatever, let's go. Keep the shoulder blades pulled together. Nice and tall, nice and proud, jumping jack style arms. Nice and graceful here, okay? Think about the shoulder joint. That's what should be moving. It's the only thing it should really be moving. The arms are controlled from the shoulder joint in this movement. So think about it, let's get these movements right. Okay, big shoulder shrugs up and back. Get rid of any tightness present, so it's a big shrug, it's a big circle. You're trying to exaggerate it. Push down, pull back, and then change direction. Same again, lift it up as high as you can, push down, pull back, etc. Good, and then neck, okay? Definitely get the neck going here. So if your neck's feeling a wee bit creaky, a wee bit tight, take time. Tuck your chin in, feel the neck extensors up the back of your neck, getting a good stretch. Keep your shoulders level. But take that stretch as far as you can, and don't go fast, okay? Because if we've got tightness there, you could end up pulling it. And that's the last thing we want, isn't it? Good. Right. If you've turned up to this morning's class and you have not practiced the Turkish Get Up, you're going to feel rather silly this morning, okay? Hands up if you've not practiced. Hands up if you don't know what it is. Yep, Stephen, you're not even in the camera anyway. I just saw your hand. You don't matter. Right, okay. I'm only joking. Right, okay, so Turkish Get Up. I am not teaching you for the first time now. This is revision, okay? So I want you to grab your lightest kettlebell or your bottle of water or your can of beans. This is not your working weight you're using right now. This is a weight that you're going to find pretty simple, okay? It's a weight that shouldn't challenge you in any way. So if you don't have a kettlebell as such, find a water bottle, okay? Or at the absolute worst, don't use anything and just pretend, okay? We mustn't use your working weight here. So I want you to, if you're happy, practice, okay? Practice. We're going to start on one side and start another. What we're going to do now, everybody, is work through all 8 exercises of today's circuit. In depth, or as in depth as it needs to be, okay? Happy with that? So think of this as the pre-circuit. Pay attention. It's important that even if you know the exercise, you don't just go, ah well, easy. Practice it because I want that muscle memory fired up, ready to go, so when we start the circuit, you're good to go. Now, as always, we're always starting on the left arm, okay? We're always starting on the left arm. So it's a Turkish get up on the left. So as always, you're going to have it in the racked position, so fancy watch, flick it inside. From here, okay, this is a quick revision. This is not me teaching you for the first time. I've got my arm, I've got it locked out. Key point from this is my shoulder blade is pulled together. I'm gripping this thing like I'm trying to kill it, okay? I'm crushing the hell out of it. I do not want this wrist to be cocked back. You're going to hurt yourself, you're going to lose power, and you're going to look like an idiot when you hurt your wrist, okay? From here, left arm means that my left leg, boom, is coming up also, okay? So you see what I'm doing with this leg? It's like I'm trying to glute bridge. I bring it up as far as I can, and I place it just outside of my butt, okay? So I don't bring it in line with my butt, I place it just off to the side. It's going to help your balance. From here, I'm putting my arm out to the side, and then I'm punching. This is the bit most people struggle with. You need to be explosive, you need to be powerful, and you need to try and imagine you're getting up like a shot. Your arm's straight, but you're still trying to punch while that arm's straight. We need power. So from here, it's a combination of punching this thing towards the sky, driving through this leg, and driving through this arm in one swift punch. Okay, you can see that I've not locked the arm out yet, because what I'm going to do now is push this hand hard into the ground and lock out. It's important that you stabilise each transition before you move to the next. Look at the thing, okay? We always look at it as we go. From here, I'm going to bridge up. That's another bit people get wrong. They do a lazy bridge and then they wonder why they can't get their leg through. Yep, we need to be up. Now, if you've decided to rock up to this morning's class with your favourite platform shoes on, you're going to struggle. We need to get this leg through and into the lunge position like so. Now, if you've got big fancy running trainers on with a 50-inch heel, you're going to struggle because they're going to hit the ground. From here, I'm then pushing up. So you can see where the windmill movements comes from, okay? That windmill movement is kind of like what we're doing there, transitioning up. From here, I'm keeping my eye on my kettlebell and I'm going to drive. It's a simple lunge position. Then it's the reverse. So back down with the opposite leg to the hand I'm holding. Back onto the hand. Back through, slowly, down, okay? Don't collapse. Down onto the forearm, down under control, into that nice safe starting position, okay? We're happy with that. That's your revision for today, everybody. We're going to change arms. We're going to do it on the other side. If you're happy and competent, get a few reps in. I'm going slow to break it down for you. So I'm now onto my right arm. I'm crushing the hell out of it. My shoulder blades pulled together. I'm switching legs. Right arm, right leg. You can see better from this position. I bring my foot and don't just plant it at my butt. I plant it to the side of my butt. So straight away I can feel a lot of tension ready just to go snap and power into this. My arms out to the side. Locking out, I punch up towards the sky fast. No hesitation, all out power. Drive through the hand, keeping my eye on the kettlebell, I bridge up. From here, I bring my foot through into a lunge position, make sure I'm stable. You can see this kind of relates to our windmill position that we usually do. From here, I'm up. Nice and tall, nice and proud. I drive through both legs to stand up. Squeeze my butt, lock out. From here, down under control. Onto the hand. Keep that kettlebell always vertical. See how the kettlebell is always vertical? Okay, but my body changes position underneath it. It's always pointing towards the sky. If you start to let this elbow bend, you're going to start putting your shoulder muscles under a hell of a lot of strain and stress. So your shoulders are going to get tired very fast. Lock it out, keep it locked out, and keep that shoulder blade pulled down. Onto the forearm, down we go. Boom. If you struggle to keep your shoulders stable, okay, it's a mobility issue and probably strength issue. The Turkish Get Up is going to help address any weaknesses you have. You're moving through many different planes of movement. It's where you'll identify a lot of weakness. If you do a lot of specific kind of isolation movements like sit-ups, etc., you'll feel that imbalance, you'll feel that weakness. It's going to affect your movement. This thing's going to help strengthen and iron it out, but ultimately, if you can't keep a stable arm and you find that you're shrugging your shoulder, you need to do the overhead mobility overhaul. You need to do it because you're going to hurt yourself. You are absolutely going to hurt yourself. Right, okay, and that's not too scary. So Turkish Get Up on the left, straight in to Turkish Get-Ups on the right. It's a controlled exercise. If you're new to it, go slow. Don't try to be fast. Speed comes with practice, okay? If you try to be fast, you're going to make some pretty bad habits. You're going to create bad habits and it's going to go to pot, okay? So take your time until you understand the movement, then speed comes easy. Then, number 3, we're all going for a double-handed kettlebell swing. okay? Because we need that revision. We're going to ground ourselves back to the basics. From here, it's hips back, hips back, hips back. Now, I want you to imagine you're squeezing a couple of satsumas underneath your armpits, okay? Squeezing the hell out of them, because what happens there? Do it, okay? You feel those lats start to activate. That's going to stop you from going like this, because I still see a lot of this. I see a lot of swings where people are way back here. Look at my back, look at my spine, what's wrong? Okay, all those vertebrae, my lower back are opened up and I'm going to hurt myself. We don't need to go that far. You're going as far as it takes for your hamstrings to be nice and stretched and generate enough power to snap forward. Can't show you this in slow motion because it's a powerful one-speed exercise, okay? If I tell you to speed your swings up, you shouldn't be able to, okay? If I tell you to slow them down, you shouldn't be able to. We let gravity control us on the way down, and we always feel like we're nice and balanced in a centre of gravity. Drive the toes into the ground, there's no rolling, okay? No rolling on the feet, these feet are solid. Drive the toes in. Your hips go back. As a result, the kettlebell always feels like it's in your centre of gravity. You never feel like you're leaning forwards, okay? You never feel like you're falling backwards. My final tip for you is if you're outside and you've got a big garden or a big lawn in front of you, you can even practice this, okay? But when you're swinging your kettlebell, if you let go of your kettlebell, it should fire. So if I let go of it now, at that position, it should fly through those mirrors and shatter them, okay? If you feel that your kettlebell is going to go up instead, so try it now. When you're doing your swings, imagine, right, I'm going to let go of it at eye level. If you feel like it's going to go up, you're not creating enough power in your hips, okay? You should feel that kettlebell is going to fly forwards. Shoot forwards. Yep, and when I say shoot forward, I mean that thing is going to fly across the garden. Good. Come back. Right, okay. So you get my point. If you feel it like it's going to go up, what you've done there is turn it into a front raise. You're using your shoulders to lift the kettlebell, which we should never be doing. Our arms are just an extension of our body. The power is generated in the hips. Hips are the engine, the arms are the steering wheel. Boom. Okay, so there's my simple kettlebell swing. Refine it, practice it and get it right. Next up, this is one where you need to take your time with, and this is one I would encourage you, at least for the first few run-throughs, use a water bottle or use something that's quite light, okay? This is one windmills. Okay, I'm going to show you without a weight first. I'll show you from multiple angles. I'm locking this thing out over my head. You'll see that we're working with a lot of overhead stuff. This is why we need good overhead mobility, because if you're like this, and there's a lot of tightness that we talk about present, you'll find yourself shrugged with a bent arm, or not shrugged with a bent arm, and vice versa. You won't be able to keep everything pulled down, or you keep everything locked out, if that makes sense. Yep. So this position here, you should be able to hold it for quite a reasonable bit of time. If it feels like a lot of stress and your shoulders getting tired, you've probably got the arm bent, or you've not got stability. It will come, but it will come quicker if you do your mobility overhaul, okay? So from here, think about your hip hinge. Yep, we're happy with that, everybody on live. You're happy with your hip hinge for the kettlebell swing. With a windmill, you put one arm up over your head, and you're still hip hinging, but because we've got one arm over our head, we kind of hip hinge off to the side. So observe, I'll show you from a couple of angles. Keep my eye on the kettlebell, push my hips back, snap through, squeeze the butt. Hips back, hips back, hips back, squeeze the butt. And you can see my hips are going off that way, aren't they? Okay, that should happen pretty natural. So from the front it looks like this. Hips back, hips back, hips back, and you can see I'm trying to touch my toes, but you mustn't reach for them. Okay, if you touch your toes, that's the end goal, to be able to go down and be able to touch your toes by pushing your hips back, which we get from good mobility and flexibility in our posterior chain, which we talk about all the time. Okay, you're not trying to do this. Okay, I get to a point where my mobility is limited now, I can't go any lower, so then I end up just going, hoot, what have I done there? Okay, I've curved my back, my spine's now not locked out nice and tight, and you're going to hurt yourself, okay? Pretty happy with that. So you're trying to touch your toes, but only if your mobility lets you. Let's practice it now, everybody. So this is where you're going to learn fast, and this is where it's going to help our Turkish Get-Ups, or they're going to help this. Lock out, pull, crush, pull the shoulder blade together, hips back, hips back, hips back, hips back. And because you're going off to the side, you'll feel one side lengthening out more, but you'll feel this coming into it, the obliques. You'll feel those obliques holding you together. Remember, we're not reaching for the floor. The upper body's fixed in position. Look at me now please, on live, let's pause. I'm up nice and tall, nice and proud. This arm is by my side, okay? I'm not, some of these are starting to go like this. This is where we get the error with a lot of these movements. Straight away you're thinking hand to foot. So you're going like this. You're trying to reach the hand to the foot. Look how curved the arm here. Should not be curved, okay? We keep the upper body fixed in position. The arm is hanging by the side, and I push my hips back. By pushing my hips back, my torso is going to come down. My arm is going to come down. But I'm not trying to reach. Are we happy with that? Hips back is all you're thinking about. This is a complex movement pattern. Use a kettlebell that feels comfortable for you. Let's practice on the other side. Get it up, lock it out, squeeze the thing. From here, nice and tall, nice and proud, I keep my eye on my kettlebell, I push my hips back, boom, I snap them forward and I squeeze my butt to lock the hips out and lower back. Hips back, hips back, hips back. I'm not reaching for my toes. I get to my toes by pushing my hips back. Happy with that? Tough exercise, like I say. You're going to feel imbalance, you're going to feel potential, a lot of people weak on the obliques, or you might feel your shoulder. You've got the strength in your obliques, but you're really struggling with your shoulder. And that's what I mean by it's going to address any issues. Hit me with it.
So your knees bend slightly.
So your knees are soft, just like a hip hinge, just like a Romanian deadlift, just like our kettlebell swing. Our knees don't bend, otherwise we turn it into a squat and start using the quads rather than the posterior chain, but we keep them soft, okay? So rather than locked out, we keep them unlocked. Happy with that?
Yep. This one moves more than the other because
you're overthinking this. You're overthinking it already, okay?
Sorry.
If you're, all I want you to do is keep your knees soft. As you go, things will just happen naturally. Things will happen naturally with your knees. If you've got the
I think one of my knees is coming out more than the other.
It will, because you're pushing off to one side. Okay,
yeah.
So this is me exaggerating.
Is that wrong?
This is exaggerating, but this is kind of what's happening. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I'm pushing off to that way. So yes, you're going to change slightly with your knee position, but don't think about it. Start with them unlocked and maintain that unlocked. It's a good question because it's what a lot of people struggle with these movements. Okay, you're trying to push your hips back while not bend your knees any further than keeping them soft. That's challenging because your body's naturally programmed to do a squat. Okay, so we're trying to do a squat without bending our knees effectively. It's like a boot camp squat. Okay.
Which we don't do on this show.
We don't do it. We don't do it. We do it other places, but certainly not here. Okay. Right. Let's get on with it. Happy with that though. This is what I mean by, and you need to understand. Okay. It takes time. It takes time to get these movements perfect. As long as you're safe. As long as you're being safe, that's priority number one. Repetition, practice, you're going to get better, you're going to think about it less, and you're only going to have to think about the key things that are relevant to keeping you right. So take your time, okay? And remember, on these movements, vertical hand, punching towards the ceiling, always punching towards the ceiling. As soon as you start using weight, even if you just come an inch or two away from that line, you're going to feel it ripping your shoulder, trying to pull your shoulder out, okay? And that's where you'll learn as well when you start going heavier, but you must get the movement pattern correct first and foremost. Right, next up, okay, we've done our windmills left, our windmills right. Now we're going to do a high pull left and a high pull right because we're going to start refining that movement to help our snatches later on in the week. Okay, so a high pull. High pull, single arm kettlebell swing, pull it in, punch it out. Pull it in, punch it out. Pull it in, punch it out. Beginners, you're going to do this. Okay, it's going to happen. Don't stress about it, okay? It takes time. It takes time to get it right. Biggest tip I'll give you always is crush the hell out of it. There's a pattern here, isn't there? Crush the hell out of it. Pull the elbow back high. Imagine you're doing a press up. Imagine you're doing a press up. That's kind of how our arm should be moving. Maybe the elbow a wee bit higher, but it's the same movement pattern. Has to be fast, powerful, and instant. When you're doing a single arm kettlebell swing and you lock the hips out, your kettlebell becomes weightless for a millisecond, okay? It's no longer accelerating, it's no longer decelerating. And just before gravity starts to pull it back down to earth, it sits there floating. It's crazy, I know. But that moment where that kettlebell is weightless is the moment you rip it in and squeeze the hell out of it and punch it out. Okay, it has to be fast because if you're slow, gravity's going to take over, start pulling this thing down, and if you pull in too late, that's when you're going to end up making a mess of it. You're going to make a mess of it. you're going to do bad reps. On your weaker arm, you're going to do a lot of bad reps. Realise that you've got to make these mistakes and these failures to get better, okay? If you're just paying lip service to it, thinking, oh, I know what I'm doing, you're not going to get better. You're going to hurt yourself and you're going to be developing bad movement patterns. That's why we're spending half an hour learning these movements, okay? Because they're required. You have to learn and understand them. You have to practice them. Happy with that so far, everybody? We're high pulls. Now, to regress it, for those of you who have one kettlebell that might be too heavy, as in you do not feel safe, you're going to do your single arm swing, okay? Single arm swing. Can't say it enough. Whether you're doing a single arm swing or a high pull, your goal is to snap these hips forward as fast and as powerful as you can. That hip snap followed by the squeeze of the butt, that's what's going to throw this kettlebell up with ease. If you give it a half-assed snap of the hips or a little bit of this, okay, you're going to really struggle. That kettlebell is going to feel heavy on that high pull, okay? So practice, but again, that'll be something you realise. One day you'll just do a perfect hip snap and this thing will fly up and you'll be like, whoa. And then boom, that's that learned, and then you get better, okay? High pull left, high pull right, or if you're really struggling with that, and when I say struggle, I mean you've only got one weight and it's too heavy. I would much rather use something light to practice the movement pattern with than just go straight to a single arm swing. There's people out there that will feel, I'm guff at these, I'm crap, I'm not getting the hang of this at all, I'll just do single arm swings, okay? You're not going to get better at the high pull, are you, if you just keep reverting back to the easier option. Are we clear? Challenge yourself, get better, okay? It's the only way you're going to get better. We don't like doing things we're not good at, but if you keep doing them, you're going to get better at them, then become good at them, you're going to enjoy them. Right, from here, we're then going into skipping. Okay, so from here, it's just a finisher with the heart, getting the heart rate up. Told you to bring a skipping rope. If you don't have one, please don't stress. Okay, so you've got your skipping rope, okay? I would rather you'd done a double-footed, but it's just a bit cardio, so if you want to run on the spot with it, that's fine. Everybody else, you're going to do spot sprints. Because I want these arms moving, okay? I want you to feel these shoulders are going to be tired, the arms are going to be tired. It's just a cardio blowout, okay? Well, I've got my skipping rope. Now with skipping, some people are going, I'm no skipping, stuff that. If you're crap at skipping, as in you go 1, 2, 1, 2, guess what? 1 and 2 becomes 3 and 4, 4 to 5, and then before you know it, you can do 10, okay? Then you skip up, and then before you know it, you can do loads. Don't just write it off. The amount of people I see writing skipping off because they're crap at it, you're always going to be crap at it. And if you do skipping in a circuit, you're going to realise why it's so good and why it's so effective. It will get your heart rate up, sky high real quick, and it's a good technique because we're going to learn a lot of coordination. Are we happy? Anybody got any questions? Now I appreciate that it was in depth, okay? But I hope it was worth it for you and I hope you took something from it. And it needs to be, it absolutely needs to be. Right, in 30 seconds we're going to start this circuit. We're going to start this circuit. I want you to look at this first run through as an easy run through. So this is not you going straight into the hardcore weight. Look at this is a run through where you're still working, you're not having a holiday, okay? Get yourself set up. Turkish Get-Ups on the left are starting in 10 seconds. This is a run through where you maybe just go a wee bit slower. It's a bit more thought out, you're trying to refine it. 3 seconds. Stand by. Don't pace me. Okay, all I'm going to do is keep reminding you as we go of some points. Purpose of me right now is if you can see me while you work out, which you shouldn't because you're looking at your kettlebell. So remember, eyes on the kettlebell. Break down each movement pattern, each transition. Pause. Don't try and go fast. When the buzzer goes, everybody, you're simply going to change to the other arm. But I want you to finish the rep you're on. Okay, finish the rep you're on before you transition. And then it's down, change arms and go. So remember, you're punching, doing an explosive sit-up, driving the foot and the hand into the ground all at one time. Be sensible. Your spine should be neutral. As in you shouldn't feel your spine starting to curve anytime. We take our time. Next up, everybody, double-handed kettlebell swings. Let's go. Double-handed. Remember, throw those hips forwards. Try to throw that kettlebell forwards, horizontal, boom. Try and get it to the other side of the garden. In your head, of course. Snap those hips. Squeeze the butt. Get the breathing now. Good. Windmills on the left next. So light kettlebell, bottle of water, can of beans. Lock it out, knees soft, hips back, push them forward, squeeze the butt. Hips back, hips back. Remember, do not reach for your toes. Keep your arm by your side and you'll touch them by pushing your hips back. Only go as far as you're able to maintain good form. Do not hurt your lower back here. Things are feeling tight, change arms. See when you're changing arms, clean and press, okay? I want you to be doing our clean and press movement. Do not reach as tempted as you are. Your head should be in your hips. My hips go back. I lengthen out my hamstrings, my glutes, my lower back. I can feel my core working big time here. Okay, I can feel my obliques working big time. Shoulders trying to stabilise this thing above my head. Straight into a high pull on the left. Remember, yes, we're trying to go for nice quick transitions, but this is your time to start training yourself to be slick. So rather than just stop dead, if it's above your head, clean it down, and then down to the floor, and then change arms. Snap the hips. Think back to that kettlebell swing, which is why we've done them today. So we change arms. How do we do that? Alternative kettlebell swing. Then go. So I don't even need to stop. Again, that takes time and practice. But practice these transitions. Snap the hips, squeeze the butt. Snap the hips, squeeze the butt. High elbow. Crush it, okay? If this thing's dropping down, you're not squeezing it hard enough. Then we're on to skipping or spot sprints. Go. I've left my skipping rope over here. Ah! I've got two. If anybody needs a skipping rope, I'm your man. Right, that was my mistake. Go. Now when you're skipping, trust me, when I first started skipping, I could not skip. And I have not skipped, I would tell you now, probably about a year. So you can see it's still there. You're trying to keep your feet nice and close together. You're trying to stay nice and light in the balls of the feet. Ultimately, it's easier for me to relax. Never think about it. As soon as I start thinking about the skipping, that's when I hit my feet. Right, have a rest. Talk to me. How are we feeling on live? You don't need to talk to me, but if you need to, please do. Understand these new movement patterns, or the ones we're kind of not done a lot of. It takes time to learn them. You must be safe, you must be sensible. The biggest one that you're going to hurt yourself on is that windmill. If things are tight and you're not moving properly and you're starting to let that spine bend, you're going to hurt yourself. Guarantee it, you will hurt yourself. So if things aren't feeling quite right, use something light or nothing at all and learn the movement pattern. Ultimately, at the heart of it, start getting yourself set up, everybody. Turkish Get-Ups on the left. We'll start in 10 seconds. At the heart of a lot of these movements, it's just a hip hinge. It's just toe touches, okay? Let's go. Boom. Punch up, drive the hand. Bridge up with the hips enough to get onto the lunge position, drive up. Don't try to be fancy, okay? One day you will be fancy, but you'll be fancy naturally. If you try to be fast and rush each transition, all you're going to do is create bad movement patterns, bad habits. Arms locked out, kettlebells getting crushed the hell out of it. Once you start, change arms. Once you start to get a bit of understanding and better coordination with the movement, that's when I encourage you to go up the weight. Because when you go up the weight with this, that's when you really learn the technique, the power that you need to get the movement done correctly and effectively. So keep practicing. Get ready, everybody. Go straight up. So be safe on these transitions. Pick the kettlebell up, double-handed swing, snap the hip, squeeze the butt. You have to. You really have to squeeze the hell out of this butt. Especially when we're doing all these movements combined. Because you're going to feel your lower back, your glutes getting tired. And if you're not squeezing the butt properly, you're just increasing your chances Windmills, okay, so remember, clean it, press it. From here, hips back, hips back, hips back. If you can't touch your toes, don't worry about it. I'm not really touching my toes. Why? Because I feel that if I go just that too much, I'm maybe just going to start breaking form. And I'm not risking that. So be sensible, hips back, look at the kettlebell, lock the elbow out, crush the kettlebell, down, clean it off, change arms, clean, press. Okay, from here, good grip, get a good setup, hips back, boom. Remember, hips back, squeeze the butt. Because the kettlebell's over my head and one arm, when you push your hips back, they will go back to one side more. That's what we should be doing. But that should happen naturally. Keep the knees soft, but don't bend them excessively. And don't continue to bend them. Down, flick it off onto the left hand, high pulls. If you need to start off your high pulls with a few single arm swings to get your head into it, hip snap, pull punch. Hip snap, pull punch. As soon as you feel those glutes snap through and that hip snap, the reason I say hip snap is because you should feel that hit, lock out. You should feel that prominent, powerful snap. High elbow, change arms, alternative swing. Remember when we're changing arms, we do it at eye level. Okay, we do it like this, up at eye level. If you do it down floor while trying to continue your swing, you're just going to end up putting a lot of strain on your lower back. Remember your breathing. Big breath in. Good. Get ready for it. Skipping or spot sprints. Put these kettlebells down safely. Safely. Quick as you can on the skipping. Okay, straight into it. Remember, if you're just learning to skip, you're going to be doing this. Oh, you're going to get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Get angry. We can use anger. Frustration just clouds everything though. Don't get frustrated or you'll just get crabby. Get angry with it. Don't think about it. That's why I'm talking. Usually when I'm doing this, I always just try and look at something. Good, well done. Right, okay. If you haven't got a skipping rope, again, I'm not meaning people to go and start buying everything under the sun. I'll always give you an alternative. But now that our circuits are starting to ramp up a wee bit, I'll start including a lot more skipping, because it's a great way to tie things together and just have a good blowout of the heart and lungs. Right, okay, so your circuit this morning is either going to be pretty hardcore, you're going to feel it, it'll feel like a strength circuit, you can hear my heart and lungs aren't up too much, well apart from the skipping. The exercises are more strength, more controlled, more thought out, okay? If you're using a heavier kettlebell, you're really going to feel it, it's going to feel like a strength session, okay? But if you're new, or you're just learning, it's not going to feel too difficult. Why? Because you're just learning the movement patterns with a lighter weight. It has to be that way, okay? Be patient. Stand by, 5 seconds. Turkish Get-Ups on the left. Crush the kettlebell, lock the elbow out, drive through the foot and hand, punch. Remember, we're explosive. If you try to be explosive and powerful, you'll recruit more muscle fibers into the lift, and you will be more explosive and powerful. It'll feel easier. That's why people struggle with that part. Getting off the ground. Turkish Get Up, great exercise. You can use it as a warm-up with a light weight. Change arms when you're ready. You can use it as a warm-up with light weight. You can use it as a strength exercise. You can have a workout with just Turkish Get-Ups, everybody. If you don't believe me, once you learn this movement, get yourself a heavier kettlebell, and you know exactly why it's a workout. It's a very functional movement pattern, and it's a great one for correcting. Change arms, kettlebell swing, sorry, double-handed. Pick it up safely. Don't pick it up with bad form, bad posture, just for speed. So kettlebell swings. We shouldn't feel ourselves rocking on our feet. They should feel cemented. I'm squeezing my butt and my head. Don't look forward. Switch your head off. Your head should move with your body. Okay, windmill. Clean it up, press it, lock it out, hips back, controlled, up, squeeze the butt, hips back, hips back, hips back, snap them forward. That should be all you're really thinking about. Trying to keep that kettlebell vertical while pushing those hips back and squeezing the butt. Hips back, hips back, hips back. Squeeze the butt. Good. Remember when that buzzer goes, lift. Clean and press. Down, flick it off. Change arms. Clean it, press it, lock it out, and then go. So it's hips back, knees soft, crush the kettlebell. Just constantly have that mental checklist. Keep fixing little things. Elbow locked out, shoulder blade pulled together, pulled down. Okay, we'll get high pulls next. So think about it, the transition from here, down, roll it off, change arms, single arm kettlebell swing for a 2, and then get into your high pulls. If you're a bit more advanced, you can go straight into the high pull. But if you're just learning, I always recommend you start with a couple of those hip snap single arm kettlebell swings. Because that's what it is, that's all it is. It's a single arm kettlebell swing with a pull and a punch. Squeeze the butt, snap the hips. Let's get it right. Change arms, but we change at the top. Nice, easy, simple transition. Doesn't have to be bang on when the buzzer goes. But the point is, I haven't stopped moving. I haven't had to put my kettlebell down. Remember your position, everybody. Don't go too far back with the hips. Snap the hips forward. Chest up, proud. Good. Stand by for skipping, 3 seconds. Wait for the buzzer though. Good, kettlebell down safely. Kettlebell. Kettlebell. Skipping, straight into it, or spot sprints of course. Really try and, damn it, really try and go for it. Good. Really try and go for these. I want you to get the heart rate up high. You've got 60 seconds rest after this anyway, so you might as well go for it. Push it hard, push it hard. 8 seconds, go. Relax, good. Walk around, catch your breath. So like I said, and like I keep saying, for a lot of people this morning, this might be slow, it might be very thought out, intensity might be pretty low, and that's okay, you have to learn. Don't rush into it, don't try and just go straight to the heavy weights. Get an understanding of movement patterns, but also to flip that around, don't play it too safe, okay? Don't just choose the easy option, because it's hard to do it the other way. As long as you feel safe, okay? And there's nothing wrong with, in some of these exercises, okay, I've done a few rounds now, I'm really warm. Let's try the heavier weight. Right, that feels alright, but oh my lord, it's hard. Right, I can only do 2 or 3 and then I start to feel like my form's compromised. Put the kettlebell down and continue where you left off with nothing, okay? Learn the technique, no, learn the movement pattern on the lighter weights. Learn the technique. Turkish Get-Ups, go for it. Okay, that was a quick, this is your last run through, everybody. Let's do it. Straight into it. Take your time. Remember, speed just comes naturally. You shouldn't have to rush it. Don't try to be fast. Change arms when you're ready. Be safe, be sensible on your transitions. See how much we need to concentrate on this? That never goes away. If you find yourself really concentrating, really having to think about keeping that shoulder stable, that kettlebell above your head, that never ends. It just becomes less thought out with a movement underneath it. Good. Double-handed swings, straight to your feet, pick it up safely, and then start. Good. So while you're doing these, I want you to think about a single arm swing. It's no different. It doesn't change in any way. It's going to try to change it because it's trying to throw you off balance, but you maintain this. Okay, windmill, from here, clean it, press it, lock it out, stabilise, set yourself up and go. It's a hip hinge. You're pushing the hips back, you're driving the hips forwards, and you're squeezing the butt. Remember the little points. Crush your kettlebell, but my forearm's getting tired, my hands are getting tired. Good, you'll get stronger. Down, flick it off, clean up, press it, set yourself up and go. So a lot of the time we default into these lazy positions because we get tired and it feels easier. You crushing that kettlebell, you're going to strengthen up your forearm and your wrist more so that it's going to burn less next time you do it. Okay? But if you just default into a real lazy position like I'm showing you now, you're going to hurt yourself. From here into a high pull. So snap, pull punch. Snap, pull punch. It's a single arm kettlebell swing. See if you really want to do one swing and one high pull. One swing and one high pull. It should feel the same. It should feel like the same movement pattern, the only difference being I'm pulling and punching. That's probably a good idea actually for beginners. Transition on the alternative at the highest point, which is eye level. So again, if you're fairly new to these, single arm swing, high pull, punch, single arm swing. And it should not differ at all other than that elbow being pulled in and out. It should feel like exactly the same movement pattern at your hips. Okay, go for it. Skipping, spot sprints, this is your last exercise of the day, so you give it your all. Remember, if you're starting skipping for the first time and you're making a mess, keep making a mess, you'll get better. But my biggest tip to you now, don't think about it, just go. Skipping is in the wrists, okay, it's in the wrists. That's why if you do it and you're economical, your feet should really not come off the ground too far. Good. But when you're learning skipping, you'll find that you're like this. Big jumps, big jumps. You'll get real tired real quick, but you'll learn, okay? Things will happen naturally, just like anything. You keep practicing, you will get better. But the amount of people who aren't good at something, that make up a crazy excuse as to why, and then they don't do it, that's not justification. You can get better at something, you just need to practice it. Happy days. Any questions on live about what we've done, as in specific to the workout, the movements, anything you're not sure about before I turn that recording off, because it might help someone else. Okay? You don't need to talk for the sake of talking. I just mean if you've got something relevant, as in, you know, is this right, is that right, should I be feeling it here? Okay, but my biggest point is, as it always is, take your time. It's not going to be perfect, it needs to be safe. Okay, forget that, we're done. It needs to be safe, okay, it needs to be safe. And you're in control of that at home, okay? If you hurt yourself, you're probably going too heavy, you've rushed it, okay, or you're just not doing things correctly. Slow it down, start with just that water bottle, learn the movement patterns. And you need to realise, like I keep saying, you need to revise, you need to practice. It sounds cheesy, but you need to revise in your own time. You get to the end of a Tuesday night or a Thursday night workout, you're already warm. You don't need to pick up your heavy kettlebell, by all means do so. But, shut up. Just get a light weight and start practicing these movement patterns. You can do it during the day, okay? Nothing. Okay, right, before I open this can of beans or macaroni or whatever you're into, ravioli, we're going to get it. We're going to practice some of these, okay? Little and often, and it'll start to go into the subconscious. You'll start to understand it. You'll have little moments where you'll click. You'll go, oh, all right, I get that now. Oh, wait a minute, that feels a lot better. What am I doing there? Ah, okay. I can teach you so much. I can plant a few seeds. Shut up. I can plant a few seeds, okay, but it's up to you to grow them if you like, okay? It's up to you to take them away, practice them, get what you can out of them, and see what wonderful flowering plant you can grow.